God created us. God knows what is good for us, what is best for us, and he has given us guidelines. And I call them the user's manual.
Yeah.
For the Christian, the Bible is the user's manual. From the author himself, the creator himself.
Yeah.
For the Muslim, the Quran is the user's manual. And for me, it is very clear. And this is the language I want to tell the Gen Zs. Not only the Muslim Gen Zs,
Yeah.
but Gen Zs of Kenya generally. Because here, we are in it together
Yeah.
as Kenyans. One, you are exercising your constitutional right. Freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, picketing, and the rest, granted. But the question is this. When you have a problem, do you solve that problem by creating a bigger one? And when we met as Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims and other Muslim organizations,
Yeah.
our message was very clear. By now, as Kenyans, any Kenyan who cares about this country, right from the top to the bottom, we know the problems. Actually, we can list them down one after the other. We don't expect magic, but of course we expect action to be taken. So my plea is this, not only to the Muslim Gen Z, the guiding principles in our religion is this: when there is a problem, we have an obligation
Yeah.
to deal with that problem and remove it. For some of us, it's by use of our hands. If you're not able, by word of mouth, like me and the Reverend are doing here, and yourself also.
Yeah.
If not so, the least expected of any Kenyan who cares about this country is hate anything bad. The problems, the corruption, the opulence that we have been seeing and the rest. Then the Gen Zs have made their point. They've been heard. Now, talking about dialogue, I'll talk about dialogue in a moment here. Now, what we need now is to see action. But again, let us be reasonable. For those people who are expected to do something, of course, we need to give them time, but we have to see it, the steps are being taken.
Yeah.
For me, when we talk about opulence, the country is undergoing financial problems and the rest. Tighten your belts. I want to see it begin from the top.
Yeah.
Tighten your belt. We don't want to see people flashing out the expensive things they have. Then you tell Kenyans, tighten up your belts.
Have you seen any steps so far?
Yeah, okay.
So
for me,
yeah,
I can say
the
the steps.
Yeah.
People complained about the cabinet not being effective.
Yeah.
The cabinet has gone. People said the inspector of police is failing Kenyans. He has resigned. Whatever happened, he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
We expect also a cut down on expenditure. From the big offices, we want to see that action. So what I'm calling the Gen Zs to do is that let us not with our own hands destroy our country. We're also telling the police, if people are demonstrating, they are exercising their constitutional right. Exercise restraint. Do not use excessive force, because at this rate,
Okay.
I'm afraid we're destroying this country.
All right, Alphonse, let me come to you before I get back to Sheikh on an issue of destroying the nation. Now, one of the demands of the protests and the Gen Zs was that politics and church should be separated. When politicians attend church, all they need to come there for is spiritual nourishment and not take the pulpit to get into their political shenanigans. And we've seen this happen. Most, if not all of the churches and religious platforms have heeded to that call. Now, I'm trying to understand again how you'd strike the balance as a church, because religion plays a very integral part in governance. Part of your role is to educate the people out there on the way to follow once you've ascertained that this is the right route of governance. So how then do you balance in between like telling your masses this is the route to take, this is the leader to follow, but then again, you won't necessarily engage these politicians and give them a platform to speak to those very same congregants?
As a church, we have a manual for all of us to follow.
Yeah.
That manual is the scripture, is the Bible. And then we have what we call liturgy, the way leadership is done within the church.
Yeah.
Now, if it happens, and there is the role of the church, is the role of the church is to be the conscious of the society and to hold everybody responsible.
Yeah.
All of us, the role of the church is to help people deal with the issues around them. The church is part of the society. The church runs schools. The church runs hospitals all together. The church gets care of the holistic man, mind, spirit, and soul.
Yeah.
So if it happens that this particular politician came in and he did something within his weakness, and it was blown out of context, it is the responsibility of the church to clarify their stand. But for now, we have heard. We have heard, and we are taking different steps. Like where I belong, we said recently, no to fundraising. We are talking, we said in the NCCK, no to fundraising, especially with politicians. Let's go back and do things in a quiet moment where you come and do it the way it is structured within the scripture. That one, we are dealing with it. There are issues that we have watched as they go. We also accept has been a problem, but we are dealing with it. But for now, my friend, where we are again, what I'm pleading as my friend is pleading, yes, we are saying, nobody is saying that we will have dialogue. This part of the community, the society that are on the streets, they are saying, we don't need dialogue, we need action. We also agree. But even that action need to be, we need to listen to one another as we take action somehow in a structured, in a structured manner. If we go unstructured, we are going to harm one another. If we go unstructured, we are going to have all that we can see happening now. We cannot wait longer to see other people die on the streets. We can no longer wait as parents to be uncomfortable, cry when our children, when Wanjeri is hit on the street. Wanjeri belongs to a family. We cannot wait no longer. But what we are saying, the point is at home. These Kenyans have spoken, the point is home. Now let's ask ourselves, what are we supposed to do? Yes, I heard even a politician say yesterday, you don't need dialogue to do this. Yes, we are not saying dialogue, but there is listening. We must come up with a listening methodology of accomplishing what we want.
Alphonse, before I move to Sheikh, I'm foreseeing a problem here. In some other scenarios, let's say we take the route that you've talked about, politicians and different people who want to participate in religious activities, operating within the guidelines of the scripture, doing things in a more quiet way, trying to explore that route. But then again, we have to look at both sides of the coin. It could be a good approach, but how then would you deal with an instance or a scenario that comes in the near future where your very same followers and congregants start blaming you as the church that you're doing things below the radar, you're meeting with politicians or different key players who are contributing, making donations, trying to do something, and there's no sense of accountability. How would you deal with that when you get to that point, if it got to that point?
Thank God. A number of us, I talked of a structured systems and unstructured system. A structured system where I belong, I am a Presbyterian, and in the Presbyterian church we have what we call practice and procedure. What we do and how we do it. And if you are Presbyterian, you must rank under these procedures, which we believe that they are in line with the Word of God. So there is no loophole of saying, you know, this one went met with the swan so underground, and then when they came on top, they messed up. What we are calling upon our member churches to do, let them have some practice and procedure that everybody will rank under, will walk within, so that we will not be accused of all this. And we are not standing here to say that the church will be only for holy people. The church is not, I've said 20 times, 1,000 times, the church is not a museum of saints. It's a school of sinners. So we'll give you some time as you when you're in school. You might come and mess up one day, but we'll definitely bring you to back to the school structures.
All right. Sheikh, you talked about destroying the country and the Gen Zs just staying alive to that fact that the route that they're taking could lead us there. And we saw the president just yesterday, or I think 2 days ago, when he was launching certain projects in Nakuru, when he came out to speak on certain issues, he pointed an accusing finger to a specific organization and said he knows that the Ford Foundation are the people who are actually funding these demonstrations. Ford themselves have come out and said, we don't know what the president is talking about. So what are we dealing with right here? Are we dealing with a president who's probably still hiding from the truth and the real situation right here, or these are just more of distractions?
You know, my take on that is this. Let us accept responsibility and accountability. Let us be accountable for our deeds. We know where we've gone wrong. And you know, the buck will always stop with the head of state of this country.
Yeah.
You took oath before man and God and said you're going to defend the Constitution and serve the people of Kenya. Accept the blame. When you're home, let's say you're the head of a family.
Yes.
There is a problem in the homestead. It doesn't help now pointing fingers at other people and blaming. Fix the problem. So my advice would be this. Doesn't matter who could be behind all this, but do we have a problem in the country? The answer is yes. Do we know the root causes of these problems? Even when a senior government official stands up and tells Kenyans A or B, because of the practice, people don't trust them. We've lost that mistrust and confidence. So we need to look at the underlying root causes of our problem. It is not time for pointing fingers and blaming other people. Can we fix our problems? It doesn't help when my home is in trouble. I'm just pointing fingers. It doesn't solve the problem. So we need to accept our problem. And can we solve our problems? I believe we can solve our problem. And again, at the end of the day, we need to talk with each other. Now we are talking at each other. We need to talk with each other. Now, the misuse of religious spaces by politicians, of course, it is obvious in Kenya that they have been using this, and we know it happens a lot, especially when now they want the votes of the people. That's when they go to these religious spaces. But I want to thank God. It's not because of the efforts that we have made, we as Muslims in this country. It is because of the nature of our places of worship. We have no fear at all. It has never been used, and it will never be used by any politician because of the nature. You come in there, it doesn't matter. You could even be the head of state. If you come late, you'll sit at the door there. You'll sit on the mat there. There's only one person who can speak there. The imam is the only person who is things to do with the giving money to the mosque and the rest. We don't encourage that, and people do it in a different place altogether. And I totally agree. And I want to thank my brothers, the Christian clergy, for the stand they have taken that the church should not, or religious spaces should not be misused. I'll call it misused for political ends. Now, again, let us stop blaming people. Let us stop pointing fingers. Let us ask ourselves, when did the rain start beating us? Where did we go wrong? Come, as Kenyans, let's talk with each other. And you know why people are running away from dialogue? They say, it's business as usual. This is not business as usual. It is business unusual. We should try to do things differently now. Otherwise, we risk losing this country.
All right, Alphonse, now, I don't know, maybe you could be having a contrary view to the same in relation to what the president said, that he knows the foundation that's funding these demonstrations. And let's just put it on his side, on the flip side, and put ourselves in the position that the president is in right now. Of course, it goes without saying that people who have ill intentions could very well take advantage of what is going on right now, and they might actually use this period to actually escalate things on his end so that it looks bad. Now, looking at his pronouncement on knowing who funds this, do you have a contrary opinion in should he have done that, or it was not right for him to do so?
That one I blame the advisors. Because when he does that, actually he sheds bad light to people who advise him. Because that story might have come somewhere to reach him as an individual. But for sure, the person who did that is not genuine. And then you ask yourself, those Americans, they are there. There are things that have been listed here with a group of Kenyans who are saying no to 1, 2, 3, no to police killing, no to all this. Let's deal with our issues here. Just stop messing up with those people in the U.S. If the U.S. gives us money, we have laws in this country, the directors. We have institutions in this country. We have our own system. We have 2010 Constitution. We have Chapter 6 of our Constitution. If we have the laws, in those laws, they are Chapter 6. There is when we had an issue 2010, when we had an issue 207, there is Agenda 4 of Kofi Annan. We did not implement Agenda 4. We have the Constitution, Chapter 6, we have not done it. Where Ford Foundation coming in? Did Ford stop us from implementing the Agenda 4 of Kofi Annan, which deal with youth and employment and better sharing of resources? Did the Ford Foundation come in to deal with Chapter 6? Is Ford Foundation coming to deal with the nepotism? Is Ford Foundation coming to deal with all that we are talking about? Is Ford Foundation coming to deal with the corruption? So put that Ford Foundation out. Whatever foundation, please, please, please give us a break. Let's deal with the issues. Again, let's deal with a rat in the house, and let's not burn the granary plus the rat. Let's find ways and means to move the rat out and then remain with our food on the table, so that we don't kill people and we don't mess up our country. So is it all right? Nothing like that.
Okay, well, I'd love to give both of you just a minute or two just to give your closing remarks on the same. But Sheikh, on that issue of what we are looking at right here in terms of the president's role in all this, and probably the position that he could be in with people trying to take advantage of what is actually going on right now, and just also looking at what we are seeing and the timings of what is happening right now. The demonstrations began, we've seen how the police have reacted, and just about a couple of days ago, out of nowhere, we get stories of bodies that have been dumped in this dump site in Mukuru kwa Njenga, just continually adding on to this image, this bad image that is already now sitting with the president on his side, or on the government side. What needs to be done to reassure the public and give them that confidence that steps are being done, and at the same time still balance the equation with what the Gen Zs want? Because I believe the people who would want to take advantage.
I think we just need to do the right thing. The president needs to do the right thing, the police do the right thing, and even we, the citizens, do the right thing. The biggest problem we have in this country is not lack of laws. I think if you look at our constitution, the 2010 constitution, and specifically if you look at chapter 4, the Bill of Rights, it's one of the best, one of the most celebrated constitutions in the world is our constitution, because of the Bill of Rights. The problem we have in this country is impunity. When we decide that we're going to do things according to our whims, we throw away the law. This is now the fruits of what we have done with our own hands, leaving away the law. What we need to do, if I was the president today, of course, he's not in an enviable position. Actually, sometimes I even sympathize with him these days. I would just tell Kenyans, I know where we had gone wrong, give me time to fix things. And as Kenyans, we would say, okay, we have a right to do that. We gave you that position. It is we who put you there. He did not elect himself. Okay? You've done mistakes. The people around you have not done things the right way. Now assure us that you're going to do the right thing. We give him time to do the right thing. In the meantime, can we exercise our rights? And I want to support the Gen Z because they have awakened us up as Kenyans. I want to believe even the young people elsewhere, they've seen that Kenyan youth know their rights and they have woken up. But again, let us know the limits, because we don't have absolute rights. Every right has a limitation. So remove what we think is ailing us as Kenyans, allow those people who are responsible now to do what they must do, and then we make sure that we do not destroy them. For me, let us not destroy this country, because we are in a ship. This ship is called Kenya. It is afloat now. If it sinks, we sink, all of us.
All right, Dr. 30 seconds.
I would suggest this, as I've said before. Kenyans, let us listen to one another, so that what I'm speaking, you will get something you did not know, so that out of it, we'll know how to behave. Let us listen to different voices, not just the voice of a particular group. The people that are on the street, let's listen to their voices. The clergy, let's listen to their voices, so that we may know that their perspective and know how to structure. Even the DCI, let's listen to him. But as far as the Mukuru kwa Njenga is concerned, the quarry issue is concerned, the voice of the DCI has a lot to be desired. It's not making much sense. Nobody will believe it. There are lawyers to do a lot to prove his point across. No one, very few people will believe what he's saying. So let's work more so that we can get enough revelation. But he might be having a point, but the revelation is not there. Maybe we all need to join him.
All right, what a way to finish it right there. Of course, tonight's discussion on Punchline has been centered on the voice of religion in governance and basically what we're witnessing as a country as of today. That was Reverend Dr. Alphonse Kanga, who's the regional chair of the National Council of Churches of Kenya, as well as Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome, representing the Muslim fraternity, to get their views on the very same. What you've heard right there, let's give that dialogue a chance so that we do not lose this country that we love as Kenyans. Let's now get some sports news before we wrap up things. The Kenya Girls Under-17 Junior Starlets forward Marion Serenge has on Tuesday been named the LGSJEC Sports Personality of the month of June in recognition of her impeccable performance during the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup qualifiers. Her efforts in the two-legged qualifier match against Burundi led the Junior Starlets to writing history as the first Kenyan Nairobi football team to ever qualify for a FIFA World Cup tournament, earning a spot in the 2024 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup set to be hosted in the Dominican Republic in October. Okay.
Guys, to kufanya other interviews, if nataka more photos with her together with the team.
I'll also thank my coach for giving me that ability to be here, and also to thank the national team coaches who have been able to impart some things and some training in me. I can say it's a big inspiration and it's a big motivation to me, since I would like to achieve more, and I know that I'm going to make it.
We simply have to celebrate our top stars in the country, and even the young ones, when they come up, we try as much as possible and give them that kind of oomph, so that they might be able to go all out, compete, and while at it, they know at least the sports journalists in the country, as much as we do cover what they're doing, we always also try and celebrate what they have been able to achieve.
I found today's celebration even more exciting for two reasons. First, the person we are awarding is definitely our youngest winner ever. Secondly, she wins the award for a performance that helps the country achieve a historical qualification for the Football World Cup.
Football Kenya Federation Premier League side Lindsay Stars have parted ways with the head coach Anthony Modo Kimani after just one season in charge. Kimani took over the team before the start of the previous season and faced numerous challenges. He led the Soldiers to a 12th place finish in the FKFPL 2023-2024 season, winning 10 matches, drawing 9 and losing 15. He bagged 39 points after 34 games. The team secured their league safety on the penultimate day of the season with a victory over Kariobangi Sharks. Elsewhere, Kenya Commercial Bank FC have announced the hiring of immediate former Kakamega Homeboys head coach Patrick Odhiambo as their new head coach. Bernard Mwalala, who took them to the final of the FKF Cup, has stepped down from his role as club's coach to focus on personal interests. England manager Gareth Southgate has resigned 2 days after losing, or to Spain rather, in the 2024 European Championship final. The Three Lions lost 2-1 in Berlin on Sunday, their second consecutive Euros final defeat, having been beaten on penalties by Italy at Wembley 3 years ago. Southgate